Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
That's true, but all I need for you to know is I'm like a bird. I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is. I don't know where my heart is. But I'm like a bird. I'll only fly away. For those just joining us, you might be a little confused. But sometimes I just like to start the show with song lyrics every once in a while.
Yeah. Should we call you Nelly the rest of the day? Or
Oh, Nelly! Which, by the way, was the name of her first album. Nelly Furtado, if you're not familiar with I'm Like a Bird. One of the all-time great songs. Is Nelly Furtado in the Hall of Fame, the Rock Hall?
Oh, boy. Let me...
Yeah, we should have asked what's-his-face. I don't think she's even eligible yet.
Oh, come on. That time has passed.
23 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. Rock
It came out in 2000-ish, right around there.
Let's see here. I don't see that she's in.
She's not in
the Rock Hall of Fame.
No way. Okay.
Give it time.
Yeah. She'll be there before Foreigner. We all know that. All right. Yesterday was just another boring day in the life of our healthy, vibrant republic. The cast of the TV show Ted Lasso was at the White House.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it was something with mental health or something, you know?
Yeah. And so they got a front row seat to the little controversy that happened when African News White House correspondent Simon Ateba, is it Ateba, finally broke after being ignored by KJP for 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
I mean, without being called on. The guys, his contention is the guys in the back of the room rarely, if ever, get called on. And of course, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And she has told him, look, you can come and see me in my office, you know, and he's done that. And she told him, okay, yeah, I'm going to talk to you next year. Like, she is.
I'm going to talk to you next year.
Such a mean girl's approach to people she disagrees with.
Yeah.
Such a Marxist regime, and that he can't take this anymore.
Yeah, here's what happened.
Yeah, right. You're right. You're here for me. Refer me. No. That's not. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
From across the room. You've been discriminating against me and discriminating against some people in the briefing room. And I'm saying that this is the U.S., this is not China, this is not Russia.
Yeah, this isn't China, it's not Russia.
Okay.
What you are doing, you're making a mockery of the First Amendment.
And now the press gallery are trying to shut him up.
It's amazing how they stick together with the Democrats.
Sometimes welcome, guys. Welcome to the press briefing room. Okay.
This is not right.
Sir, let it go.
Are we ready? Are we going to behave? While many folks...
Oh, boy.
Quorum, please. Simon.
And that's our start.
And it didn't stop there either. Simon had something to get off his chest. Here's what it looked like from the press gallery.
Bring it to her later. I have done that. I've done that. All my emails have been ignored.
The press corps is tired of dealing with this.
The press is tired of dealing with
I understand that you get questioned all the time and you don't understand what it is to sit here for 8 months and being discriminated against. I understand that you're in the front row and you feel comfortable and you get questioned all the time. But there are people in the back who don't get any questions.
Don't make assumptions about what the rest of us do. Mind your manners when you're in here. If you have a problem, you bring it up afterwards. But you are impinging on everybody in here who's only trying to do their job.
Okay, thank you. I'm saying that you shouldn't discriminate against some people because you don't agree with their question. You're offended by your question.
We all heard it.
All right. Guys, as you all know, many of you know, this is the White House press briefing room, a historic room, a room that should have decorum, a room where folks should respect their colleagues and respect the guests that are here.
See, she's empowered now because the press defended her.
I understand that
Now,
there's going to be give and take. That's the way the press briefing
Give and
has gone
take.
for decades before me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the decorum is I just stand up here and lie to your face every day and
that
don't
something?
call on anybody I don't want to call on.
I mean,
and then you just take it. That's the great decorum in the White House press briefing.
if that press room had defended Simon and stood up for him,
Yeah, but they won't.
then her response would have been 180 degrees different. But since they all shouted him down and made sure that he knew his place in the back row,
Yep.
then she was empowered then to go on there and say, like, hey, come on now. We have decorum here. I mean, there's some good journalists back there. You see James Rosen, used to be at Fox News. He's with Newsmax now. He's sitting back there behind Simon. He never gets called on. He asks great questions whenever the opportunity is allowed. But that's just it. The press, they don't want to answer questions from these good journalists. No. That's why the legacy front row gets all the questions, and thank God Peter Doocy is in there.
Which is weird. It's
the Fox News chair.
Yeah, but it's weird that Fox News has a chair up front. Never thought I'd see that, but, it's been that way for a little while now. Then they finally restored order, and Zeke Miller from the Associated Press apologized on behalf of the press for Simon's interruptions.
It's first a moment of personal privilege here. I just want to express our apologies and press forward to the folks watching at home for the display we saw earlier. Our responsibility is to them.
Shut up.
We're here to ask questions on their behalf, to hold their government accountable, because they can't all be here. This isn't about us. So with that,
it's not about us. Since when? Jeez.
But again, it's easy for him to say, right?
Oh yeah, he's called on all the time. Yeah. By the way, including the president himself called, if you remember this.
And now I'm happy to take some questions, and I'm told I should start with AP Zeke Miller. Zeke, you have a question? Didn't recognize you with the mask on. I apologize.
Still wearing the mask, by the way.
Jeez.
Zeke Miller, AP.
So last night, Simon Ateba was on Tucker Carlson explaining why he spoke up the way he did and interrupted the press conference.
And so what has been happening in the White House is in the past 7 months, I've done all the right things. I've not been called on. I've gone to her office to seek a meeting. She said that she will meet with me next year. I've sent questions about the Nigerian election, about, the problems, challenges in Africa. And they've not called on me, even as the vice president is going to Africa, even as the first lady, Jill Biden, went to Africa, even when they received 50 African leaders for the U.S.-African Summit in Washington, D.C., the guy who covers the White House, the African guy who covers the White House, is looked down upon in the greatest country in the world, in the most advanced country where freedom of speech is protected. It's a shame what happened today. One of the guys that you showed there now, Brian, he was kicked out of the WACA because he became violent CNN in the Rose Garden. CNN. It's a disgrace. It's very violent. He attacks many people. It's a shame. What happened to me today, it's a total disgrace, and it's happening in the Biden White House. And when it happens to Jim Acosta of CNN, because they respect him, he's white, he works for CNN, I'm black, I'm African, I don't have money, they look down on me, I don't have opportunities that they have, and they don't treat me the same way. I need to do my job. The freedom of speech and the press in the U.S. allows me to do my job, and that's the only thing that I'm trying to do. And they are stonewalling me, trying to help Karine Jean-Pierre, and it's a shame.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
What was that?
All men and women created by you know the thing.
So, I mean, they know what they're talking about at the White House. They know the Declaration of Independence. They know the Bill of Rights. I think it just proved it right there. So they understand freedom of speech.
Simon loves this country. He's always on Twitter talking about how much he loves this country and how we are losing our influence in nations
and it's true.
All around the continent of Africa, and how China is moving in and other countries are exerting influence because there's now this void there of leadership. And he is a good guy, and
seems like it.
There's no place for that at the White House.
Yeah. I mean, he was really emotional talking about it.
Yeah.
You could tell he's just barely holding it together on Tucker. It's a real shame. It's a real shame that they treat this guy like that. And they do. If he were a leftist, they'd be calling on him on a regular basis. Maybe not every day because he's in the back row, but they'd call on him more than once every 8 months.
Yeah, and he makes a great point. It's like, I had questions about the Nigerian elections. I had questions about problems going on in Africa.
Vice
the
president,
Vice President,
there.
First Lady, they go there. I mean, I am relevant. I have questions that apply to what this administration is doing.
Yeah.
And they just
it doesn't matter.
Give him the time of day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's on the wrong side of the spectrum. And so they don't care about him. They don't respect him. Incredible. It's really incredible. 888-900-3393. Do you know that it has been almost 5 days since we sent Ukraine hundreds of millions or billions of dollars? Do you know that?
That's a lot of time.
Almost. I mean, not quite. Let's not get ridiculous.
It's like we forgot about him.
Almost, yeah. It is like we forgot about him. But fortunately, they stepped up. The United States is authorizing another $350 million in military aid for Ukraine. That's according to Antony Blinken. That's what he said yesterday. This military assistance package includes more ammunition for U.S.-provided HIMARS and howitzers. Good, because... yeah, we don't want those for ourselves. We don't need them. Why would we ever need HIMARS and howitzers?
See, I'm glad you said it like that, because so many of these transfers to Ukraine aren't done through Congress. Okay?
Yeah, are any of them done through Congress?
So
I guess they've done a couple bills and packages.
So my question is this the commander-in-chief exercising his power to say, we're going to move this asset from our... This is why we're running out of... We've got multiple retired generals who are saying things like, yeah, we don't have enough...
to fight if we need to.
Like ship-to-air missiles, or there's been other things. And that's because we're just moving our own defenses to Ukraine.
Yeah. So it includes these HIMARS and the howitzers and ammunition for Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, HARM missiles, anti-tank weapons, riverine boats, and other equipment. Okay, because, we'd never need any of that. What would we need it for?
Yeah.
We're not going to war ever again.
We're not a target.
No, but everybody loves us.
Yeah.
Because we've got Joe Biden as our leader now, so they all love us. Our friends are much more friendly, and the enemies have completely turned around to be our friends now.
That's
you
pretty
see
awesome.
that with China, don't you?
Yeah, that's what you
see that.
China's not an enemy.
Okay. Oh, man. What is this? 58% of voters want Biden to be more aggressive in containing China.
Really? Well, what are you worried about China? China's not an enemy. We just heard that.
China's not an enemy.
Right. And they're becoming really friendly with their neighbors and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Like Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin hung out yesterday in Moscow. So that's cool.
Okay. Oh, look at this. Aw, buddies.
Hey, you. Oh, isn't that nice?
That's good to see, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, the world getting along.
Yeah, it's really good. Hey, you want to sit down? Let's just sit down. Have some pictures
then he
taken.
pulls his chair close, like, yeah. Now listen to this.
Уважаемый господин председатель, дорогой друг, добро пожаловать в Россию, в Москву.
Why is he speaking gibberish to the Chinese premier? That's weird.
The video I saw was him, just saying, my good friend. I mean, like you said, they
cozying up
love
together.
each other.
Yeah,
that's good. And in fact, Xi told Putin yesterday that they are ready to, quote, stand guard over the world order based on international law.
Oh, that's interesting. The two of them are ready to stand guard over the world order.
I mean, you're not getting that moment there when Trump's president.
No.
Between Xi and Putin.
Poof.
And, China is trying to broker peace right now between Ukraine and Russia. And Putin's like, hey, I'll talk with you. I'll listen.
And like you said, we've left such a void there. And China's only too happy to fill that void.
Left it everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, they're nosing in everywhere, all over the continent of Africa.
And beyond.
They're
over here. I mean, the Monroe Doctrine isn't even a thing anymore.
Oh, no, please.
Oh, did you see that these Oh, they detained 5 Chinese nationals crossing in illegally, and down at the border. And apparently, it was reported that encounters with Chinese nationals is up 900%. 900% in the last year.
So that's good, right? You want a lot of Chinese people immigrating here.
It's like you said, Pat. Everyone's getting along, and we're just kind of just hanging out with each other now, and so it's good.
So let them in. Open the door and let them in.
It's terrifying what's happening with China and Russia teaming up.
But the border's secure. That's the good thing. We've been very much assured by Mayorkas that the border is secure.
Well, the border, I mean,
don't even worry about it.
Well, that's good because now the target is space satellites. I guess China is developing a missile that can shoot down satellites.
Jeez.
So this is going to get good, right?
Oh yeah.
That's why we have Space Force. Thank you, Donald Trump.
But are they doing anything under Biden? I don't know. Meanwhile, the guy at the top of our bureaucracy, Joe Biden, babbling about Persian culture or something yesterday.
I don't know what this was.
This guy's a gaffe machine. Here, check this out.
You know, the Persian culture is amazing. As a student of the Persian culture,
are you
not a practitioner, but a student?
Oh, you didn't grow up in Persia?
What is it? That's the one place he didn't grow up.
I grew up in Persia, in fact.
Honestly, that's the one place he hasn't grown up or hung out in as a kid.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Because he did grow up in Puerto Rico and in a black church and in Jewish synagogues.
Got it.
Okay, so that's great.
Can't be everywhere.
Keep forgetting I'm president.
Well, I want to forget that you're president.
Was he addressing Iranians yesterday? Was it an Iranian-American thing?
I don't know.
Talking about Persian culture for.
Don't ask follow-ups.
You studied Persian culture? Did you? Did you really?
Not a practitioner.
No, but he studied it. I mean, carefully. I'm sure he carefully studied Persian culture. It's so ridiculous. And he mentioned a U.S. aid worker, Jeff Woodkey, who was released yesterday after being captured in Niger, clear back in 2016. And he had a message to Americans being detained unjustly wherever in the world that's happening.
All those who are unjustly detained in Iran or anywhere in the world know that you are not forgotten, and we will not stop trying to get you home.
We will not
returning
try
wrongfully
to
detained and people held hostage, and particularly Americans and their families, is a top priority for this administration.
Where can we find some Americans that are detained unjustly, Pat?
Man, like everywhere. We've got in Russia. We still have that Marine that's not been released yet. Mm-hmm. There's one.
I think a little closer to home.
Like in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, like
perhaps?
in the nation's capital, probably
like
a mile from where
of them,
he is,
and another 1,000 are going to be charged, they keep saying. Another 1,000 people they want to arrest. Jeez. So if you had anything to do with, I mean, even if you were in the district and you didn't even attend the rally, don't tell anybody about it.
I know.
If you went to Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you've been talking about it, stop. And certainly don't put it on social media.
No.
They're coming for They are coming for you.
And they pinged so many cell phones that were around the Capitol, and that's how they were able to go and find out who they were, where they lived and stuff. And somebody brought up the point recently on Twitter that for some reason I just hadn't thought about. It's like the bomber guy, whoever that you can't find that set the bombs.
The pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not ping a cell phone in that area?
Not to mention, they have video of it.
Video, yeah.
And you still can't get the guy? Of course they can. I just think they know who it is. and I think they placed those there. Somebody on the left.
Could it be a co-worker of one Ray Epps? Perhaps?
Could be.
Oh, by the way, this guy who was just released, I mean, I don't know what the deal was. Like, what did we give up? Who knows? But it was ISIS who had kidnapped him 6 years ago. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Or remember them? And then they were squelched with Donald Trump's actions over there. and now apparently they're making a resurgence. U.S. officials actually in this administration have warned, ISIS is back.
Oh, good. Good.
It's good, right?
Is there a single thing this administration has done that is good?
No.
Not one thing that I can think of.
Not for America,
right.
for sure.
Right. If he were the leader of Afghanistan, if he were, part of the Taliban administration, he's done some great things for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's done great things for China. He's done great things for Ukraine.
Yeah.
But what good thing has he done for the United States of America? I can't. There isn't anything. There's
about
nothing.
China, and I was reading a thing, another retared general who says when it comes to Taiwan, China's got the military advantage over us there. So let's hope something does. That's all we have left is hope, man. God.
Well, I don't think we're in any position to militarily defend them.
No.
So China walks in there, and are we even going to try? I don't know.
And it's not just the military aspect of China that it appears to be growing and the threat continuing. I was watching this interview with a guy, and he was interviewing a lady who grew up in Mao's China, and they were discussing the Cultural Revolution there, and effectively what she was saying is that the parallels today with what's happening with our kids in America and what Mao did to the kids to separate them from their parents, it's the parallels are terrifying.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, like with they had these struggle sessions, right? You'd have an adult come in there, and the kids would yell at them and basically condemn the parents and the older generation. I mean, that's exactly what's happening with everything related to education. But she talked about how you're manipulating these kids today But the thing is that in China, those kids that were the ones that were brought up, during that time, they're the leaders today in China. So we're just conditioning kids in America to be the next generation of leaders that are going to be of a similar mindset as to what happened in China.
They'll
It's
be
fascinating.
Marxists.
Yeah.
They'll be Marxists. I mean, it has taken some time and some patience, but that's the difference between progressives and communists.
Yeah.
We tried to drive that home years ago, and for decades we've been talking about progressives. They're just patient communists.
Yeah.
They just don't want to do. They don't want to make the change through a bloody revolution. They want to do it slowly over time, and they're patient. And man, has it paid off for them?
Yeah,
big time.
I mean, it used to be so cute when it was, turn down that crazy rock and roll, kids. And you remember how aghast we were 20 years ago when Al Gore was like, your parents are wrong about climate change. We long for those days.
No
where
kidding.
It's Al Gore just telling a room full of kids that their parents don't know about recycling and pollution. I mean, now it's literally trying to get these kids manipulated to the point where they want to change their genders. And it's too late by the time the parents find out. I mean, it's insidious.
Wasn't it Dewey that said the goal of the educational system is to make the kids as different from their parents as possible?
Woodrow Wilson, I believe, said, right? It might have been Dewey, too, but Woodrow Wilson was making him as different as his father as possible.
And have they ever succeeded? And that's where Common Core comes in and all of the changes that they've made. Because you can't even help your kids with their homework because it doesn't make any sense.
This is you bringing up that is such a great segue into clip 14 today. All of these states that are talking about empowering parents with their tax dollars and using them for whether private schools or homeschool education instead of just dumping it back into the public education system. One of those battlegrounds is the state of Georgia. And they had a state representative who commented in this debate, this Lydia what's her name? Lydia Glaze. Do we have clip 14? Listen to this arrogance.
I see access as a problem. I see parents being able to direct their child's education, and they are already in the lower 25 percentile, meaning a lot of those parents did not finish high school and cannot could not finish their own education. I am extremely concerned that we would put money in their hands and that entire piece of life in the hands of parents who are not qualified to make those decisions, and they don't have the money to put in the difference that their child would need to attend a private school.
That's the quiet part, Putin. That's the part that you're not supposed to say out loud. We all know you guys feel that. But we're just beating around the bush on it. You can't just come out and say it, but she did. But she did.
They're not qualified. What was
my gosh.
What was that last thing she said? Please play the last 15 seconds, Kayla, if you can, where she's just like, I don't think they're not qualified to deal with that life totally. You're talking about
put money
their
in
kids.
their hands and that entire piece of life in the hands of parents who are not qualified to make those decisions, and they don't have the money to put in the difference.
They're not only uneducated, Pat, but they're poor.
But they're poor.
They don't have enough money to make up that difference for the private school.
Right.
If you give them $8,000 and the private school costs $10,000, we can't trust these poor parents to have an extra $2,000 laying around.
Well, and you know how stupid they are.
So dumb.
They're so stupid.
They're so low. They didn't even finish their own education.
No.
I'm sorry. You're qualified by the fact that you're their parent. Period.
Jeez. I was raised by people with, my mom had a high school diploma. And I think my dad finished 8th grade or something before he had to go to work. I mean, he worked. But you would never call my dad stupid.
Right.
I mean, he was very intelligent. And he could fix anything. He knew about things that were going on in the world. He had strong opinions on things. Just because you didn't finish college and get your PhD, I'm sorry, that doesn't mean you're a dummy. In fact, a lot of times quite the opposite. If you avoided the college and the indoctrination you get there, you're way better off now.
Amen.
What an elitist. How? I wonder how that played in Georgia. That had to rankle some people and get them a little bit fired up. Wow.
I mean,
just the arrogance of it. Incredible. Like you know better than we do. And again, that's the progressive mindset. We're the cattle and they're the rancher.
Yep. And it applies to so much on the progressive left. That's just today's example.
It's just amazing because they usually don't say that part out loud.
Right? I mean, that felt like the Maxine Waters moment,
Yeah, it was like that.
You know what it was?
Except she didn't stop herself. Right. She just kept going.
We're going to take over. I'll tell you what this socialist is going to be all about.
Yeah, I'll just tell you that, you people who have these children, you're stupid. And we can't trust you with their education because you don't know anything. You're a bunch of dummies.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
all right. Well, thank you.
I got to point out that you're the dummy for saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we want to trust you.
Wow.
Man, that is so. You love these moments, though.
You do, yes.
Because thank you for proving our point.
I mean, it's what we've been saying forever.
There's nothing you
is.
have to read between the lines or anything.
Nope.
She just lays it out. You're stupid. You're poor. Your kids don't belong in your custody. We need to take care of their education because you're not qualified to handle it yourself.
And by the way, how many times did Glenn say this would happen, 10, 12 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
He would say, they're just going to take off their mask and say it. They're just going to talk about it because it's gone so far now that they don't think they can be stopped. And they're proud of it. And they look at the rest of us with such disdain and disgust that they want to let us know how they feel about us. And so, yeah, they're just going to say it. And now you're starting to see that more and more. They're just saying it. It's amazing. Jeez. All right. Wow, we have barely scratched the surface. There is a ton more to get into. Coming up, Congressman James Comer had some bad news for Joe and the Biden family.
Oh, good.
Yesterday.
I like bad news for them.
I do too.
All right.
We'll get into that coming up. Great to have you with us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter, where High Plains Stranger tweets, Simon Ateba loves our country and is clearly a white supremacist. He deserves no voice as a journalist. Get in the back row and shut up, Chief.
Chief. Oh, no. Add insult to injury. Chief.
Jimmy Dimples tweets, well, so much for the argument. How are you AR-15 nuts gonna fight against tanks, jets, and nukes? What tanks, jets, and nukes? Sent them all the way to Ukraine.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Barkman Randall tweets, if Xi Jinping loves Putin so much, why doesn't he marry him? It's a great question. Joe Cove 22, can we not ping cell phones in the dark?
Oh, not if the FBI's in charge, remember?
Mm-hmm.
They can't crack the case if it's in the dark.
And Ape Lincoln, China and Russia are in cahoots plotting our demise, but don't fret. The cast of Ted Lasso was at the White House. I think their message would have been better personally directed to John Fetterman.
Boy, where is that cat? Let's go.
Yeah, he's still in the hospital,
Get
right?
it together and get back into the Senate, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
we need his input because it's brilliant. You know it is.
Pick the winner for us there, Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Now, in the Republican House, Congressman James Comer had some bad news for Joe and the entire Biden family areas. It went a little something like this.
Clip 9.
Number 9.
Was also informative, where Hunter Biden is talking to a colleague, somebody who was representing the China partnership, right?
Yes, there was a message that Hunter was very frustrated with one of these business partners in China, that he had done every blanking thing they had ever asked of him. And of course, this would have been when Joe Biden was vice president. Mm-hmm. And he reminded him that they had never done anything in return for him. And then a few weeks later, this $3 million wire appears in the Robinson Walker account. And the very next day, they distributed money to Hunter Biden and then at least 2 other family members and possibly 3 family members. So there's evidence in the laptop that shows that Hunter Biden was communicating with them and had interactions and done things for them while his father was vice president. So this is very concerning. Again, the White House hasn't been truthful about this from day one. I don't think the White House ever dreamed we would get bank records. I've got bad news for the White House. This is just the beginning. We're going to get a lot more bank records, and they're going to have to continue to backpedal and come up with some type of reason why the Biden families received millions and millions of dollars from our adversaries.
Yeah, but Stormy Daniels, what about that? Now what do you say?
Yeah, I want to know what kind of work Hallie Biden did for this Chinese company.
Oh, I'm sure it was vital to their operation.
Think so?
Yeah, I think it probably was.
But she's like a student counselor. Pat, like I don't know what is.
What do you think? They don't have student counselors at the Chinese energy company?
They must need so. Huh?
Yeah.
And then she
I
provided
think she's doing
that
student counseling for them, about $25,000-$30,000 worth.
But no, you're right. But Stormy Daniels.
But yeah,
sorry.
Thank you.
Don't want to get distracted.
But Stormy Daniels. And $130,000 in hush money that we don't even know came from the campaign. We don't even know that. We don't know where the money came from. Maybe it was his own personal account. But
what?
He paid her to keep quiet. Okay? And
first time in history that's ever happened where someone got paid to not
say
talk
anything
about stuff.
Yeah, first time ever.
First time ever. Which makes this that's what makes this so unprecedented.
Yes, right.
Oh, God.
And we've got to twist it into a felony somehow so that we can put this guy behind bars forever. Wow, I mean, it's just you wouldn't believe it unless you saw it every day. Jeez. So apparently the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg will not be arresting Donald Trump today after all. But yesterday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was asked about the possible arrest of Donald Trump. And here's what DeSantis had to say about it.
So I've seen rumors swirl. I have not seen any facts yet, and so I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know this: the Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutor. And so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is that if you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. And I think that that's fundamentally wrong. I also think it's important to point out when you're talking about these Soros-funded prosecutors, yes, they may do a high-profile politicized prosecution, and that's bad, but the real victims are ordinary New Yorkers, ordinary Americans in all these different jurisdictions, that they get victimized every day because of the reckless political agenda that these Soros DAs bring to their job. They ignore crime and they empower criminals, and that hurts people. It hurts a lot of people every single day. These Soros district attorneys are a menace to society, and I'm just glad that I'm the only governor in the country that's actually removed one from office during my tenure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that is mostly Trump supportive. Mostly.
Mostly, yeah.
Now, he did slip in the porn star hush money reference.
Couple times.
Twice. Okay? And that, I think, is what raised the ire of Donald Trump.
Yes, it did.
And so then Trump truthed out, or whatever you call the truth social tweets. I don't know what. He wrote this from Donald Trump, the real Donald Trump's account. Ron DeSanctimonious will probably find out about false accusations and fake stories sometime in the future as he gets older, wiser, and better known. When he's unfairly and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are underage, or possibly a man. What?
I don't know, man.
I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do.
All right, leave that up for a second, because you see he's retweeting or retruthing a story about Ron DeSantis partied with underage girls at drinking party while teaching at a Georgia school. So he was a young teacher, I think his low 20s, young 20s.
Yeah,
something
like early 20s.
Yeah.
He wasn't married.
Yep.
And he partied with some girls.
Right. So, like, he shows up at this party. Yeah. But Trump is making the case that any accusation coming out is probably false. Right? Because he's like, Ron DeSanctimonious will probably find out about false accusations. And he's piggybacking off of this story about this. I swear. He's making.
And this guy's a liar.
I don't know. Help. Why?
He's losing me. I don't like it. I don't like what he's doing here.
He is more focused on Ron DeSantis than like
Biden,
the bank collapse, or Biden, or China and Russia.
Yep. There's a lot to talk about that's going wrong in this country right now. And Ron DeSantis is not one of the things that's going wrong. He's just not.
Yeah.
He's done a tremendous job in Florida, which is why he was reelected by 20 percentage points, the widest ever margin in a Florida gubernatorial election. People love him.
Yeah. And by the way, that press conference that DeSantis was having there was going after, the potential digital dollar, this central bank digital currency that the federal government, this administration is pushing. And
that's why on the podium it said Big Brother's digital dollar or something.
Yeah. And so 20 states now are making some sort of move to ban. This is as close as we've gotten to a digital currency, a cashless society. You got to watch this. This is scary.
Yeah.
I did notice that none of the states listed that are pushing some form of legislation to stop this from happening within their boundaries. Texas not listed among them. You guys are in session right now. Might wanna make that a focus.
Yeah, especially since they're in session only every other year. So this is the last opportunity for 2 years.
I can't imagine what the world's going to look like in 2 months from now.
Oh, I know.
2 years?
I know.
Let's go. But
I heard they're kicking it around, and
okay, good.
They might be doing something about it.
All right,
so
well, that's
we'll see. We'll see if it happens
good.
this session.
Yeah, and DeSantis talked about that Manhattan DA. The New York Attorney General. Do you remember during the COVID hysteria how Cuomo wanted to? There was that bill that was floated that hey, maybe we take the unvaccinated and we put them in these camps, just to keep them separated from the clean population. Mm-hmm. And that was quickly shot down. I think it got in front of a judge, actually, and they shot it down. They're like, no. The current New York Attorney General is trying to revive that. They're trying to bring that back. That state, that city, just like California, is just write them off, man.
Mm-hmm.
Insanity. Yep. You try that. Ugh.
Well, with everything going on, I mean, this is the time to buy gold. Yeah. And right now with Birch Gold Group, not only when you buy gold, you can get a free safe to store it in. On qualifying purchases from Birch Gold Group right now through the 31st of this month, so the last day of March, they'll ship a free safe directly to your door. Just text PAT to 989-898 to get your free info kit on gold and claim eligibility for your free safe. Wow. The feds just keep raising rates because it's the only tool they have, really, to keep inflation under control. And it's just not working because we just keep spending money and printing money. And you can't spend your way out of inflation. You've seen the impact on the stock market. You've seen the impact on your savings. The string of recent bank failures, the uncertainty that this has created presents new lessons to be learned. Are we going to learn them? You can hedge against inflation by owning gold, whether physical gold and silver in your safe or through an IRA in precious metals, where you can hold real gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. It's the way to go. Birch Gold has an A-plus rating with the BBB and thousands of satisfied customers. So, text PAT to 989-898 for your free info kit on gold and to claim eligibility for your free home safe by March 31st on qualifying purchases. Again, text PAT to 989898.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
So, New York Times columnist David French is working with a group of pastors to create a new curriculum for churches to teach congregants about politics. Huh. But that's going to be good. Yeah. Don't you think that'd be good?
If David French is in charge of it?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. This is going to be a
from the
game
New York
changer.
Times?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Wait a minute. How come nobody's screaming, separation of church and state? Pastor Curtis Chang is one of those pastors, and here's a clip from a lesson he recently taught about the COVID vaccine.
Oh, no.
Some Christians have been hesitant to get the vaccine because of its connection to the tissue from aborted babies. But Pastor Chang wanted to allay those fears, and so I think this will calm you down. Okay? If that's a problem for you.
Yeah, I don't know when this
care
was
of it.
recorded, but somebody recently posted this.
All right.
This will
The
be good.
COVID vaccine can serve as an image of God's redemption. Redemption
What?
is God's ultimate answer to
Holy
the problem
cow.
of original sin. Redemption is taking something that originated in a wrongful state and reworking that thing into something good. The Bible tells us that in his death and resurrection, Jesus redeemed human sin, the very human line.
Okay.
I propose
Here we go.
that the COVID vaccine is an image of redemption.
What?
Yes, the vaccine may have a distant origin story in abortion, but that past has been reworked and redeemed into something that saves life. We can point to the vaccine and say, Jesus' redemption is kind of like that.
No.
And indeed, the production of a vaccine in less than a year, it's really a miracle.
Isn't it?
Something like this
Like
has
Jesus.
never happened this quickly.
Like Jesus.
That's true.
I personally believe God's redemptive power was
Right.
present in the process.
Holy cow.
So my invitation to pro-life Christians who may distrust the COVID vaccine currently is this.
Oh my gosh.
Please remember that the Christian story is the story of redemption.
Yeah.
Every one of us has an origin story in sin. None of us can avoid this. Yet each of us has had our story reworked by Jesus
Right,
into
true.
new life.
Okay,
That's what
just
it
like the
ultimately
vaccine,
means to be
right? Just like it.
pro-life. To be pro-life is to be pro-redemption. And to be pro-redemption, in my view, means
cow.
being pro-vaccine. The vaccine is ultimately a redemption story.
There you go.
Let's be part of that story.
Okay, Satan couldn't have reworked the redeeming power of Christ any better than that.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking watching that. I was thinking, get thee behind me, Satan.
Yep, absolutely.
How much blasphemy can you roll into a 60-second clip?
That's just evil. That is just evil. And it doesn't matter that he smiles all the way through his evil rant. It's still evil. God, that's incredible. To compare the vaccine.
They're sick, man.
To the atonement.
These people are
They're
deranged.
sick. Yes, they are.
All across the fruited plain, we are just surrounded by.
And again, it shows that this is their religion. All this ideology is their religion. They're not Christians. They have the ideology of progressivism. Oh, man. Oof. That's amazing that, I don't know, clouds of fire and brimstone didn't form over his head as he's recording that and just start raining down on him. Holy mackerel. Oof.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that was really fun. Jeez. I mean, that is as bizarre and twisted as you can get. You take Christianity and twist it into that? The vaccine is redemption?
I mean, it's a miracle. They got it out in less than a year, just like Jesus is a miracle.
What?
You're sick, bro.
Yeah, wow. That's really bad. Really, really bad. Also, a journalist in Chicago went to a recent city council meeting to say goodbye to Mayor Lori Lightfoot. She lost by a lot in her primary, but that was all because she's a woman and she's black, of course. And I guess Chicagoans who voted for her and now didn't all of a sudden became racist during her tenure.
She got a nice send-off from a journalist guy who wanted to say goodbye.
And we'll show you that coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
A few tweets here. Comrade Snoobage tweets, they're not qualified to have money for their children's education, but the government's okay giving them money for food, housing, healthcare, phone, utilities. Yeah, very true. From Mount Jur climber. Who was it that did the Mount Jur thing?
That was Joe Biden, and somebody put in the teleprompter
Biden, okay.
MTG for Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
And he's like,
yeah, Mount Jur.
Can you believe Mount Jur is against this?
People that don't go to college often have more common sense than those educated people.
Yes.
Dr. Free Range Prisoner, as it turned out, my teachers were fortune tellers. They always told me that if I didn't pay attention, I'd wind up being a garbage man. Well, now I am.
Awesome.
And I make close to 6 figures a year.
That's good.
Way more than the teachers who would call me a lower. Like lower educated, lower class.
Seriously.
I guess. Yeah.
Thank you to those who do these dirty jobs.
Yeah,
man.
I wouldn't want to do it.
God bless you.
21st Century Rebellion tweets, I have an 8th grade indoctrination. I maintain and built custom fire trucks, ambulances, and other emergency vehicles. Wow. I can also build a house from the basement to the roof. Yeah, me too.
What? Wait.
Yeah, that's one of my specialties.
I was just about to be impressed with this guy.
Yeah. Were you?
But
No,
you can do it too?
No, of course. Of course, sure.
Tell me, what's the last
I got
house
building a house right now.
Oh, you are right now?
I'm going to. I haven't started on it, but...
You yourself?
Yeah. I'm gonna,
with your bare hands?
With my bare hands.
How big is it going to be?
49,000 square feet, something like that. Yeah. It's going to have 16 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms. So, yeah, it should be nice.
That's a lot going
nice.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I come see it?
Yeah, sure, when I'm done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How am I going to get there? You going to give me directions? Are there roads
I'm not
going to be
sure
to
if
this
there's
house?
a road. We'll have to see.
But it's a different place.
If your home is connected to my new one, I'm not sure yet.
Different
we'll
place.
have to look into that.
Hope shoot.
Yeah, I'm so not handy. That's pretty cool that you could build a house from the basement to the roof. Love to be able to do that. Wouldn't that be great?
Absolutely. I would love to be able to build a birdhouse.
Yes. Right.
Honestly.
Which, frankly, I couldn't do that either.
That's why no birds ever move. Whenever I have built it, whether as a kid or me and my kids will do a project, they'll build their beautiful birdhouses and I'll build mine. And no bird ever moves into mine. And it's because it's got like a leaky roof and stuff like they know. Birds know. They're not like, what do you think? I'm just going to just move in anywhere?
No, they've got standards.
I suck at building things.
Me too. A journalist in Chicago went to a recent city council meeting to say goodbye to Mayor Lori Lightfoot, give her a nice little send-off. Here's how that went.
Mayor Lightfoot, you and I may have gotten off on the wrong foot.
Uh-oh.
Reporter, WilliamJKelly.com. I'm a veteran reporter in the city of Chicago, Emmy Award-winning TV host, radio, print journalism. I should be sitting over there with my colleagues, but I'm standing over here because on a weekly basis I was going viral asking you obvious questions. And instead of answering them, you told me that crime was down. My videos went viral, millions of views, comments, likes, and shares, and it was hurting your re-election campaign. So you revoked my media credential.
Here we go.
That should never happen in a free country.
Right.
And I'm asking the city council to take the media credential process away from the next mayor of Chicago and the next superintendent of police and put it in the hands of the Constitution.
Does
what
the
you've done to
Constitution
the city of
have
Chicago, I feel like this is more of a victim impact statement than an actual public comment. What you've done to me is nothing compared to what you've done to my city, the city of Chicago, the city that I was born and raised in, the city that I love with all my heart. You became mayor. The people of Chicago elected you. You shut down our schools. You shut down the churches. You shut down the businesses. You did the one thing that I thought could never happen. As somebody who was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, I never thought in my life that I would ever see the city of Chicago brought down so low as you have managed to bring it down. Shame on you. That is a legacy that you are going to have to carry. Future historians are going to have a hard time understanding how you ever even became mayor of the city of Chicago. I intend to write that book. I intend to make sure that at least there is some possible way for the city of Chicago to move forward. I hope that you realize what damage you have done to the city. I hope that after today's city council meeting, you will pack your suitcase and get the hell out of my city. Mr. Kelly, you are a pandemic. You are a pandemic. Thank you.
Nice.
You are a pandemic. That's awesome.
She finished third, by the way. The incumbent mayor finished third place in the voting, in the primary. So, yeah, she's about to pack her bags and at least leave the mayor's office. I don't know if she's leaving Chicago, but What a hypocrite. Remember when she had to get her hair done when she closed everybody else down? When she shut the businesses, she mandated that you not really leave your house. And then she went and had her hair done because she cares about her personal hygiene. Okay. Right. The rest of us don't.
Yeah. And how could you tell with her?
Yeah, I know.
That she cares about her personal hygiene or got her hair done.
Oh, man. Well, because she's so incredibly beautiful.
That's the word.
Yeah, incredibly beautiful. So have you recovered from the daylight savings time change? Not this past weekend, but the one before yet? I mean, we jumped ahead an hour. I'm so tired of doing that. Why do we have to do it still? Well, we may not have to do it for much longer because they've now discovered that daylight savings time disproportionately affects the sleep and health of minority communities.
Okay.
Here's the one thing that could maybe end it for all time.
All right. Whatever
daylight
it takes.
savings time is racist. So
I'm on board.
That's
racist. Thank you.
It often disrupts sleep, throws off people's circadian rhythms, and can contribute to general health problems. And since people of color have a higher number of health problems, this means observing daylight savings time is more dangerous for them than it is for Whitey, for the Caspers. So now we need to stop messing with the clocks.
I see.
Now we need to put a stop to it. Okay, it's racist. It's affecting black people and Hispanics and Asians more than whites. It needs to stop, okay? Nothing else could stop it. Maybe this will.
Whatever it takes. We found we can break bread over this now.
And there's an actual bill in Texas to end daylight savings time.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of
I don't know if it's going to get any support. Yeah, probably not. But has anybody told them it's racist?
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do now.
Yeah.
Anybody that says, stop complaining about the time change or whatever, boom, your response is you're racist. Because the facts prove that out right there.
Well, yeah, it disproportionately affects minority communities.
I don't quite follow
Don't you care about that?
Yeah, don't ask a follow-up question after you say that. Hopefully they don't, say, what do you mean by that? No, that just is true. And if you question that, then you're a white supremacist. And
right.
You don't want to be that. So just get on board.
Yeah. Just shut up and understand it's racist, okay? And you're going to be a lot better off, and our whole society will be better off. So that's all. That's all. Don't worry about it. Just stop doing daylight savings time, and we'll be okay. Let's see. I was looking for this story, speaking of racism. There was another little issue that was going on in a community. Atlanta police just arrested somebody in connection with the vandalism and surveillance cameras catching this guy tagging Providence Missionary Baptist Church. Apparently during the investigation, they found this guy sitting across the street from the scene of the crime, and he had written, awful things on the church. He spray painted several messages, including Devil Worship 666, Apostate, Satan, Sin, and at least one homophobic message, too. So they were obviously all upset that a white supremacist and probably a Satan worshiper had done something like this. The man they arrested is a 60-year-old black man. Arrested for vandalizing the historic Baptist church with also spray painted imagery of swastikas. So there you go. Okay, so yet another
stunning
race hoax where they're trying to make it out as some white supremacist doing these diabolical things. And how many times has we found it's somebody who is a minority doing this to make it look like it's white supremacy? I don't know why they keep doing this. I don't know what the point is.
Yeah.
Are you just looking for sympathy for the community? Are you looking for attention for yourself? What is driving this?
Yeah, here's a story of a school in Sacramento. School suspends black students for anti-black racism. This is the third time we've had perpetrators of a racially motivated incident identified as African Americans.
Oh my gosh!
So it's
unbelievable. Almost every time. In fact, every time I know of that gets publicized like this, they shouldn't even, start to publicize it as a racial thing until they find out who did it.
Right.
Let's just keep it quiet. We'll find out who did it. We'll see if it's another hoax, because it probably is. For the most part, again, people just don't do this.
Right, and there are cases of real racism in this country, like with the time change.
Right.
I mean, we just learned.
Yes.
I mean, that gets swept under the rug because of these other incidences. What else? What else are you going to tell me is racist too? I'm sure there's plenty of evidence today that we have.
Yes.
What else?
The recent TikTok trend of showing off perfectly organized and styled home pantries. Well, that's rooted in a history of classist, racist, and sexist social structures, according to one Chicago professor. Through her research at Loyola University in Chicago, professor of marketing Jenna Drenton noticed a recent uptick in what she calls pantry porn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's a plethora of social media videos where women show off their fully stocked kitchen and methodically organized home supplies. So, of course, if you're organized,
yes,
I guess that's a bad thing, and you're a racist.
And it's not racist. Okay, it's not pantry porn if it doesn't have a lot of Basic 4 stocked up there.
Is it really?
That's
Basic 4 is a necessity.
Oh, yeah, I keep it in the upper left-hand corner of my pantry. Yes.
While minimalist designs used to represent an anti-consumption mindset of using less and buying less, the new minimalism, according to this professor, means more is more, so long as it's not dirty or cluttered. Is she insinuating that if you're a minority,
that's what
your
I'm hearing.
Pantry is dirty and cluttered?
That's what I'm hearing. Yes.
How is this not the racism?
Yeah.
Historically, she says that tidiness is intertwined with status, and a person's messiness often breeds assumptions about a person's capacity to be responsible and respectable.
Oh, God. You're right. This is racist. This is making a point that the author here is racist.
And again, I mean, every good thing now is being construed as racism.
Yep.
How is that possible? That shows what a racist you are when you're making that out to be the case.
Yeah, some of the quotes in that are just insane.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Okay. Okay. Got a lot of drops this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. What else you got
Let's see. Cleanliness has historically been used as a cultural gatekeeping mechanism to reinforce status distinctions. Based on a vague understanding of niceness, nice people with nice yards and nice homes make for nice neighborhoods. What lies beneath the surface of this anti-messiness, pro-niceness stance is a history of classist, racist, and sexist social structures.
God.
So stupid. This small space tucked between the kitchen and dining room was a marker of status, an area to hide both the food and the people who prepared it. Oh my gosh. Wow. She claims these viral videos of uniformly labeled and symmetrically placed supply bins, ingredient containers, and shelves are created by predominantly white women.
Mm-hmm.
And they act as a new status symbol.
Preach.
For what it looks like to maintain a nice, well-kept home.
And you can't have that.
You can't.
You can't have order.
How dare you?
And cleanliness. I thought cleanliness was next to godliness.
How dare you?
So what are they suggesting? Wow, that's
so ridiculous.
Yeah. And what else? We got coffee is racist now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yep.
Because, and it's the thinnest argument. It's because that former colonial countries grew coffee, and so now if you enjoy it because that was an export crop of a colony 300 years ago, then you're evil. I mean, it's just, you're trying too hard, and you're just...
yeah. You want to make everything into racism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the coffee thing is... Brazil has been the top producer of coffee for over 150 years. They cultivate Robusta and Arabica beans.
I hear the racism. I'm hearing it.
The second topmost producer is Vietnam, followed by Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that where Juan Valdez?
Oh man, that's right.
Works
and that donkey
leads his donkey around.
We haven't had a commercial with Juan Valdez in a while.
It's been a while.
I think there's trouble. I'm afraid to look him up to see how he's doing. By the way, I read something that you can lessen your type 2 diabetes. I guess I don't know if it's like a risk, so maybe it's too late. But I mean, like if you drink coffee. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
For whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
So
can't do that, so that's not going to help me. But yeah.
Okay. Well,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Well, should I look up Juan Valdez? Are you nervous?
I'm nervous as to what happened to him because we haven't seen him in a long time.
Let's just see here. Okay.
As you look up Juan Valdez, let me tell you about Eden Pure Thunderstorm Purifiers. You can purify the air in your home now and get healthy, clean, fresh-smelling air, eliminate odors, kill mold and mildew, and bacteria and viruses. Is all that racist? If you do that, if you have a fresh-smelling home, is that too racist? The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier uses oxy technology that naturally sends out O3 molecules into the air, and then that just eliminates the stuff. It doesn't just cover it up and perfume it. It eliminates those odors and the bacteria and the viruses that cause you to become sick. There's no filters to change in this. It is so easy to get started, too. When it arrives in the mail, open it up, plug it in, turn it on. It's just that easy. There's no maintenance. It just couldn't be any better or easier. And right now you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack. You get 3 units for under $200. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in the discount code PAT, and you'll save $200. That's Eden, E-D-E-N, EdenPureDeals.com, discount code PAT. Shipping is free.
Pat Gray, Unleashed.
Couple of tweets for you. Microaggressor tweets. Fun fact. Ulysses S. Grant was the only sitting president to be arrested for driving his horse and buggy too fast. Is that true?
I know he got a ticket.
Really?
I don't think he was arrested for that. Because he was going too fast. Well, it's okay. Yeah.
What was the speed limit in a horse and buggy?
I don't know. Okay.
I mean, that sounds like a judgment call to me, right?
They did apprehend him.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The president of the United States was apprehended for going too fast?
1872.
Jeez.
I don't know that they had a posted limit, but I guess too fast for conditions? I don't know.
There's another guy we don't talk nearly enough about. Grant was something. I mean, had Lincoln not finally decided on him to lead the effort against the Confederacy, the Union would have probably lost that war. But Grant was a phenomenal general.
A lot of people wanted to wrap that up.
Yeah, they sure did.
By the time he came along. Grant, let's see here. He paid a $20 bond to get out and didn't show up to a trial.
That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, didn't show up to a trial the following day, forfeiting his money.
Okay.
Instead of using his lofty stature to avoid the fine or threaten West, the guy who arrested him, Grant reportedly commended the officer for doing his job fearlessly. He received, oh my gosh.
Good for him.
Ulysses S. Grant was the Pat Gray of presidents. He received 3 citations for speeding during his presidency. And apparently him and this guy who arrested him met frequently afterward, bonding over their shared love of horses.
That's great. And there's a little something I didn't really know. There was apparently a speed limit during the horse and buggy days.
Wow.
Huh. Arkansas Pathead tweets, how many visits to the ER would Keith make during the making of one of those birdhouses?
Oh, I can tell you. I've documented it. 3 times.
3?
No.
Okay. Grammy Tamara, how can I prevent Mayor Lightfoot from moving to my city? Do I have to say Beetlejuice 3 times? No, that'll make her show up. You don't want to do that. Evan Reynolds tweets, y'all should see my wife's spice rack. If she weren't Indian, I'd be screaming white supremacy.
Oh, his wife's.
So it must be orderly. It must be organized.
Yeah, that sounds like.
That's wrong.
That is a clear case of white supremacy.
But it doesn't matter that she's from India. It's still white supremacy. Yep. Evan. Fury and Energy tweets, why didn't we think of calling daylight saving time racist before now? This is a brilliant strategy to get it canceled. I wish we would have. We should have thought of that a long time ago. You control the language, you control society. And we just, as people on the right, have not learned that lesson. At least we didn't learn it soon enough. All right. So what isn't racist? Is there anything? Pathead Texas Bizzle has a list.
Oh, good.
Of what's no longer racist on the left and what is now racist on the right.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
there you go.
And there it is.
So KJP's got a lot of great big book of everything's that's racist, and then you can see what's not there.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it's blank if you're listening.
Okay. Nothing. There you go. If you want to know true racism,
okay,
look no further than Calissa Wing. She is Joe Biden's head of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is
How could
wonderful.
she be racist? I don't understand.
And David Vance discovered a tweet of hers. So Calissa Wing tweeted out, I'm so exhausted at these white folks. In these PD sessions, this lady actually had the caudacity. See, that's Caucasian audacity.
It's okay to do that.
Together.
It's okay to do that.
She had the caudacity to say that black people can be racist too. Well, duh. But Calissa's point is, no, that can't happen.
Okay.
I had to stop the session and give Karen the business. We are not the majority. We don't have power. Why ask
So let's
for
use
assistance?
brain cells before we post things on the internet.
Unbelievable.
Thanks.
The president of the United States just a few years ago was black. That seems like some power.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Triple 800-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We've got a teacher here that is explaining the recent bank collapses and what elites have planned for us next. Check this out.
So I put 10,000 into the bank. They take my 10,000 and they go get 100,000. They borrow it from the Fed window. They get 10 times the amount of our deposits that we put into the bank. They then get 10 times the amount. They then take that 10 times the amount and they put it into treasury bonds or something else that's going to give them a yield of 7% or 6%. While they pay us what? 0.0000 nothing percent. Right. And then what happens? We get hip to it and say, hey, Mr. Silicon Valley Bank, can I have my money back? Oh, we don't have it right now. I want my money back. I don't have it. Everybody, I want my money back. Give us our money back. Hold on. We got to go sell the treasury bonds that we invested in that now are upside down because the rates are through the roof. And I don't have your money. So what has to happen to their Ponzi scheme that I would have went to jail if I did that? They get bailed out. Mr. Biden comes up and says, oh, we're going to print more money. I wonder why he's going to print more money. To devalue your dollar even more. Because guess what they're doing next to you? They're going to centralize banking. They're going to own crypto. They're going to regulate everything to be digital. So this is the first step to doing it. And they're going to own us. We got to wake up because that's what's happening. And next, there's a war going to go on between China or between Russia, and we're right in the middle. Right? And then you look at these companies like BlackRock. Does anybody ever hear of BlackRock? Or Vanguard? Oh, how coincidental. Since 9/11, you own everything. You own everything. You own Pfizer. You own Moderna. Just coincidentally, but we don't know who the hell you are. You're never on TV. But you own Apple. You own Facebook. So you own everybody's identities, everybody's information. You own Smith & Wesson. You own manufacturers of guns. We're going to war. It just seems you're everywhere at the right time to make all the money. And you're the biggest company in the world, but you're never on the news. We never hear about you. Yeah, man, we got serious problems.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
It's a good summary right there at the end.
Sure was. You want your money back? You're looking at this place all wrong. The money's not here. The money is in Apple and Facebook, and it's not here. You see, what are you going to do? Are you going to foreclose on Apple? You see.
Wow, that's like an updated version. Of,
It's a Wonderful Life, and the bank collapse in that movie. That was a really good explanation of what's going on from a very smart teacher, apparently. Was that an adult class he was talking to?
Yeah, I don't know what this is. It's Gallagher University. I don't know if it's a TikTok channel, so I'm not sure if it's... I don't know who the audience is there. If it's a college class or... I just don't know.
And this is fun, too. We've got so many things going on in this country that just aren't American. Between the civil asset forfeiture situation, now we're talking again about North Carolina using eminent domain to seize homes and a church for an electric car factory.
All right.
VinFast is the first company to develop electric vehicles in its native Vietnam, and now it's making inroads into the U.S. market. Last year, it announced it would build a factory in North Carolina that would manufacture both electric cars and batteries. Then last week, the company said it would not be able to begin production at the facility until 2025, rather than their initial summer 2024 target. They need extra time, apparently, to fulfill their promises. But in this case, a lot hangs in the balance. As North Carolina, the government in North Carolina has pledged to use eminent domain to evict multiple homeowners, businesses, and a church.
For a business.
See, this is a terrible misuse of eminent domain. If it's for the public good, like, okay, we have to have a freeway here. And I mean, they did that in Houston when I lived there. They eminent domained, I think it was 600 or 700 businesses along I-10 because they were widening it, and they had to have that room. And so they went from, I don't know, it was a 6-lane highway, I think, to 24 lanes.
Yeah, I mean, ridiculous.
They just made it gigantic. It was at one time, and it may still be the largest freeway in the country and maybe the world. But anyway, so they have to go to these businesses and offer them fair market value. But when you're just talking about a business replacing somebody's home for a tax base or because of climate change, you can't do that. That's not how you use eminent domain. When Governor Roy Cooper announced the deal in March of last year, he called the project transformative, said it would bring many good jobs to our state.
Oh, well, then it's totally worth destroying that church.
Of course, the church and people's homes.
You gotta hire people.
Yeah.
So we gotta get rid of churches.
Yeah, just get out. Okay? Get out. Don't you understand? We're building an electric car factory here.
Oh, why didn't you say that?
Yeah,
I thought it was just a car, but
no,
it's electric.
It's electric.
Then
so
totally take my house now.
Climate change mean anything to you?
Do your part.
But taxpayer money isn't the only thing the state is giving away as part of its site preparation process. The North Carolina Department of Transportation also planned roadway improvements to accommodate the traffic a new factory would create. So they're going to widen the roads, too. Those plans would require displacing a total of 27 homes, 5 businesses, and Mary Oaks Baptist Church, which has stood on its spot since 1888.
Oh.
Nah, don't worry about it. Whatever. It's been there too long, really.
What kind of car factory did you say this was again?
It's electric, Keith. It's an electric car, and they're going to build batteries.
Oh, well then.
Right?
Goodbye, church.
Yeah. See ya.
I'm sorry.
Those 27 homes got to go. That church, it's been there, really. If it's been there since 1888, that's too long.
Yeah, Gaia needs your support, and you're going to have to just step aside now.
North Carolina's use of eminent domain for roadway improvements rather than the factory itself could be enough to circumvent the public use aspects of the takings clause. But under the Kelo decision, that's the one in Connecticut that was so controversial. God, that one is a terrible example. In New London, Connecticut, where they seized homes for the construction of a Pfizer facility. Remember that?
Yeah.
Demolished the homes, got rid of the people, everybody had to move. They never built the factory. They never built the Pfizer location. I would be so pissed. Oh my gosh.
So,
but it was Pfizer, so it was okay.
So is the city of New London bringing in more property tax dollars on an empty lot than if a home were there?
Probably, yeah. I'm sure they are.
Morons.
Yeah. I mean, how stupid is that?
God.
And how angry would you be if you had to give up your home, you had to move, you went through all of that, and then they don't even build what they're telling you they're going to build there to get you out of there. It's just incredible. And so all of these people who own homes, 27 homeowners, 5 businesses, and the church, all see you later because, they also included widening a road, so that makes it okay. Don't even worry about the factory itself. We're just going to do the road. Jeez. Just unbelievable. Also now, Rolls-Royce is apparently planning to build a nuclear reactor on the moon.
Oh.
With UK funding. The UK Space Agency. I didn't know there was one. There's a UK Space Agency?
Wow, they don't do it.
What?
Is there much of a return? I mean,
I don't know.
I want to see how much money, how many pounds goes to the UK space energy industry or whatever.
Yeah, let's see how well funded they are.
Yeah.
But they're backing a plan by British car and engine manufacturing firm Rolls-Royce to build a nuclear reactor for the moon.
Wait,
what?
Hold on a second. The UK Space Agency annual budget, Pat, is 469 million pounds. So
okay,
right? I mean,
469 million pounds.
I'm a 46-year-old person has never heard them mentioned in a story.
I haven't either.
Not once. You got to do more with that money.
I just thought they were part of the European Space Agency, which I've heard of, but I've never heard of the UK Space Agency. But the program will receive funds in the sum of £2.9 million from the UK Space Agency.
Okay.
That's a major increase from £249,000 that they funded back in 2022. It's hoped that Rolls-Royce will have the reactor ready to send to the moon by 2029.
Okay. 2010 is when the UK Space Agency became a thing. So we can build nuclear plants on the moon, but not on this planet?
Not in America for some reason.
Right.
That's amazing. That's really something.
How do you do this? Is it a prefab nuclear reactor?
That's what it sounds like because, they said they'll have the reactor ready to send to the moon. So they're going to build it here and then send it there?
How big is this thing? Does it say?
It doesn't.
How? I'm just trying to figure out how that works. Is it like is it a nuclear reactor that you get over at IKEA? And then you just kind of bring it up there and
just piece it
here,
together.
Get a screw.
Follow the directions.
Don't leave your screwdriver on Earth because you're gonna get up there and get frustrated.
Nations all over the world, spearheaded by NASA's Artemis missions, seek to return humanity to the moon for a more prolonged stay than the few visits the Apollo missions made. So, in 2029,
okay,
what are you going to do with that reactor, though? What's it going to?
It's going to power homes and stuff.
All the homes on the moon?
Right, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, until they need to build an electric car factory up there, and then they're going to bulldoze the homes, and you're like, square one.
Yeah, we're building an electric car manufacturing plant on the moon. It's electric, so shut up.
But don't you have? There's a lot of space here you could utilize. Why do you have to build right here where my house is?
Weird. The first steps for this have already been taken. NASA's Artemis 1 mission having successfully returned from a trip around the moon, and the Artemis 3 mission set to pull set to put humans on the lunar surface for the first time in decades next year or the year after. It's only the start of what is hoped to be a more long-term human presence on the moon, which would include humans living and working on the lunar surface. This has the potential to vastly transform human progress, with space having been referred to by some as the ultimate laboratory. This requires a number of the necessary equipment to be made in advance, such as lunar habitats, vehicles, food sources, communication systems, and all that. But in order for all those to function, we also need a power source. And nuclear power is the big plan. That's interesting, that we can't build a single plant in the United States because of the hysteria over 3 Mile Island and the movie The China Syndrome. But now we're going to start building on the moon. What happens if we have a meltdown on the moon? Are we going to blow up the moon?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Then what does that do to our tides? What if they've considered any of that?
Be a lot of dark nights after that.
Yeah. That would be weird. There's movies about that. There was a movie last year, the year before, a couple of years ago, where the moon sort of broke up. And
oh, really?
Did you see that? No. Apparently not.
No.
Sorry, it's way too recent for you to have seen it.
Yeah.
In 2049, you might be watching that movie.
Maybe. What was the premise of this movie?
That the moon blew up or something, and then it started affecting the Earth, as would, obviously be the case. And I think a giant portion of the moon was going to slam into the Earth. Moonfall. Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. Brilliant movie.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Highly recommended, or are you kidding around?
I'm sorry. Highly recommended.
For a moment there, I thought it was a real movie review.
No.
I got to make sure to look at his face.
It was
the next time he says that.
Stupid. It was.
Oh, really bad?
Yeah, it was stupid. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad, because that kind of sounded like it had potential until you.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't bother with it. All right. Meanwhile, there's this resident who is trying her best to be a conscientious neighbor.
This is a fun story.
But she's been left unsure what to do.
Well, let's help her out.
After the woman living downstairs complained she makes too much noise when she showers.
You hear it on the surface, it sounds like, man, what are you doing in the shower?
Yeah.
Good grief.
When you work night shifts, it's important to keep the noise down when you return home. Nobody wants to be woken up by a car blaring music or a careless neighbor slamming doors, but there's only so far you can go to help others, or at least one worker thinks. The woman has been left in an awkward situation after her neighbor demanded she change her routine. Ugh. The resident, who lives in a flat below the worker, says she makes too much noise when she goes for a shower. However, the worker likes to go to bed clean.
Yeah.
And perhaps understandably.
Yep.
It's not something she wants to give up.
Try earplugs downstairs if there's a problem.
She wants to help her neighbor, but she tries to keep the noise down when she showers. But she says she shouldn't be held accountable for the ancient plumbing in their building. So that's why it's so noisy.
Pipes are rattling.
Yeah. Explaining her conundrum to in a post to Reddit, the shift worker said the matter divided her friends after she asked them for advice. I live on the top floor of a 3-floor apartment building, and Karen lives directly below me. I also work a night shift, so I have pretty much no choice but to do everything at night as I'm asleep during the day.
Karen lives below me. Did she say Karen?
Yeah. I don't know if that's the actual name
Karen?
or she's just calling her that. That must really suck for all Karens. But my roommate starts work as I go to sleep at 5 a.m., so I'm always keeping noise to an absolute minimum. Unfortunately, her activities still cause noise despite her efforts, as she found out after sharing her phone number with her neighbor.
Oh.
Shouldn't have done that.
No, you should not have.
When the woman returned home from work, she made dinner, washed up her dishes, none of which you'd expect to cause excessive noise, but her neighbor messaged her saying she wasn't happy about the water noise. And good news for the worker, commenters supported her decision after hearing her side of the story. Her problem is not with you, it's with bad plumbing. You have every right to make normal living noises in your apartment at any hour of the day, read one reply. Someone else advised, you're allowed to exist as a night shifter.
I know.
If she keeps it up, block her number.
No kidding. I mean, that sounds like an issue with the building of having paper-thin walls.
Yeah, and bad plumbing.
Fix
it. Go to the landlord and say, hey, you got to fix the plumbing here. It's way too loud. Huh. Also, Pope Francis, have you seen that he might lift the celibacy requirement for priests?
Oh, Jeffy's out then, because Jeffy, obviously was on a fast track to Pope.
Was he?
And
I didn't realize that.
Or maybe he's maybe he's more in, I should say.
Yeah. Well, he is married, so
there you go.
Pope Francis has hinted that he's going to review the Roman Catholic Church's rule of priestly celibacy. He says it's not doctrine, it's more tradition.
Huh.
I guess they've only done this for 1,000 years.
Nobody wrote it down?
No.
They were just like, oh, yeah, tell the next generation, well, that you're not going to be creating. Tell them that can't be having sex.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they started out that way, but apparently, according to Pope Francis, they did not. And it just, I don't know what it came from.
11th century something, yeah.
Yeah. He previously opposed the idea that celibacy was an option for leaders of the church, but he appeared to loosen his stance when speaking with Argentine outlet Infobay.
Oh, love them.
Called celibacy an individual discipline instead of a contradiction to the church.
What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea. I think priests should be able to get married.
You could open it up to more individuals.
Yes. Yes, you could. In the interview, which was conducted to mark the 10th anniversary of his election as Pope, Francis said, there's no contradiction for a priest to marry. Celibacy in the Western Church is a temporary prescription. It's not eternal like priestly ordination, which is forever. Whether you like it or not, whether you leave or not is another matter, but it is forever. On the other hand, celibacy is a discipline. Did you see the movie Two Popes? Probably not. That's too recent as well, right? You'll see that in about 2063.
No. It's a movie? Two Popes?
Yeah. It's with Anthony Hopkins.
Oh.
And I don't know who plays Pope Francis. But it's really good.
Jonathan Pryce?
Yes, Jonathan Pryce. Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
So I'll see it in 20
2063?
Yeah.
I finally watched it just the other day, and it was really, I don't know how accurate it is, the relationship between the two. But it gives you some insight into this Pope and why he is the way he is.
Oh, it's about this current Pope and the one before?
Right.
Okay.
And they call it Two Popes because, obviously, you had
Two Popes.
Pope Benedict, who resigned, and, that hasn't been done since the 1200s. And then you had Pope Francis. And Pope Francis apparently was about to retire. He was about to quit and not leave the church, but leave being a cardinal. And, yeah. And then, but Benedict talked him out of it and said, we need you. We need you here.
Oh, bro.
Yeah. The church needs to change, and you're the guy for it.
Let's change it to Marxism?
Boy, has it ever changed. Right? I mean,
bro,
I'm not Catholic, but it seems like he's made some pretty big changes. And that his ideology is so different.
Yeah, it takes that joke, is the Pope Catholic?
Yes! And you don't know whether to answer yes or no anymore.
I don't know. I'm kind of stumped now.
Yes!
Why the trick question?
Right. But this, to me, I don't know how Catholics feel about it, but it seems like this would be a really good, I think it'd be a good thing in order for priests to be married. Because it goes against nature and your natural inclination to not, be with somebody your whole life. Clerical celibacy has been officially mandated since the 11th century. Wow. Centuries prior, it was tradition for priests to vow abstinence. The ruling has been controversial within the church for at least 1,000 years, but the Vatican has persisted enforcing the requirement. Until now, Francis, like his predecessors, preached the rule as well.
Well,
Germany's Catholic Church recently voted to request the Pope end the requirement.
Interesting. How many retired priests or older priests now are reading about this going, whoa, wait a minute.
Now you do this.
What, guys?
Yeah. I don't know. Probably a lot.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. All right. So we are pretty much all out of time. We're going to have overtime coming up. That usually posts around 11 Central Time, 11 a.m. Central.
How do you go to watch overtime? What are you supposed to do?
Well, you go to,
Blaze TV.
Blaze TV. BlazeTV.com.
/Pat. You got to sign up.
And sign up. That's what you do. And then you can enjoy overtime. And not just ours, but, everybody who does overtime. You get access to all of it and Glenn's shows on Wednesday.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.